Hi, good afternoon. My name is Ram of Brimes Energy. So there's a lot of talk actually about changing the world, and think I'm going to give you one change the world idea that can actually work. So this is this is it. Now, there's about $1 trillion already spent on solar and wind, and a lot of people don't know that there's a third resource, which is what? Ocean waves. So if you compare ocean waves with wind and solar, the energy density is much, much greater. For example, like for every step that you make along the beach, there's about enough power there to power about 10 to 20 houses. So it's good with energy density, and there's a 24-hour availability, which means that you got about 5 hours in solar, wind, but with ocean waves, it's available about 15 to 18 hours a day. So what keeps it from being as big as wind and solar? It is the ease of harvest. It's not really, really easy to do. So what we came up actually is a solution to that problem, the ease of harvest. That's why we made up a team. So that is me. So I've designed machines since I was 8 years old. I can design a machine in my head the same way a composer can compose a song in his head. So it's like that. But it's not just me. I got a couple of people also. One has a master's in naval architecture. One is a PhD in hydrogen fuel cells. Mechanical engineer, we got PhDs, vibrations, because an ocean wave is essentially a vibration, so you need to tamp it down. And then we got two more people, and they provided us actually with our seed funding. So what is the problem? Why is it not being done? It's because of the cost, the infrastructure. So a lot of people have tried it, and the way they do it is that you have substations, they got a lot of wires, and you have to send that power all the way to the shore. So that is actually a substantial amount of capital, and you need to amortize that by the product they're actually producing. So one way of solving that is actually you don't need that anymore. What we're going to do is actually store the energy inside the jellyfish. The jellyfish is the product. And store it as hydrogen. So we can use an electrolyzer. It has about 75% efficiency. So that's really, really good. And we also have other technologies that is out there. That's why we have several patents that we have applied. So this is what's going to happen in the future. You got a lot of water around the islands, and you will see harvesters there all around. And eventually, you will have hydrogen as the fuel. So now there are more and more forklifts actually that is hydrogen powered. You got hydrogen fueling stations here in California, and there's a lot of acquisition activity actually with hydrogen. So this is what's happening out there. And this is what we're going to do. First, we're going to make a $20,000 micro jelly. The micro jelly is actually what we're going to iterate. So we don't have to make it really, really big. And then we're going to go with the 4 megawatt utility size micro jelly. And then we're going to produce hydrogen. And we have a manufacturing facility in place. With the seed money, we're going to manufacture the first prototype. And that's it. Thank you so much.
Well, let's start in. Is there future in clean energy?
So one clarification question I had was you said that since there's no wire that connects it to shore,
yes,
in order to harvest, to use the energy, you have to bring it back to shore?
You can bring it back to shore. What's going to happen is that you got a wave farm. You got wind farm, solar farm, there's a wave farm. And all the energy is stored. If it's not close to shore, then all the energy will be stored as hydrogen. And then you had collecting tanks that will be there. So there will be, it will be collected about once every month or every 2 months. So you're going to go from jellyfish to jellyfish, and you're going to use that hydrogen. And that hydrogen is actually, you're going to use that for, right now there's a lot of forklifts being used. Hydrogen is actually a carrier of energy. So instead of sending it back to shore using expensive wire and the infrastructure, you store it, and then you can inject it when you go back to shore. You can inject it into natural gas pipelines. You can do it that way. Or you can sell directly to oil refineries, and they use a lot of hydrogen for hydrofracking. It's about $5 per kilogram.
How far offshore are the jellyfish?
The micro jelly goes by. So you can, if you have a micro jelly, it's a $20,000 product. You can see it from shore. So, but the big jelly, that's where actually the hydrogen is. That's about a mile away.
Have you built a prototype? I mean, does it work?
We just received our seed funding, so we are actually building it now. So we have iterations already on our design, but this is all 3D modeled and this is all designed. So we have done that. Now we're gonna build a real micro jelly. So we have prototypes of the parts, but this time we're building the big one.
How long will it take to pay for one of these?
Right now we're looking at targeting solar. So we're trying to get as much money as we can at first, because what you're harvesting is actually like free energy, because it's not really free, right? But whatever they pay for the energy is actually what's going to pay for your machine. So the higher the price for the machine, the better. So the higher the price that the market can bear, the better. So we are targeting about 5-10 years on the payback.
How's that compared to solar?
Solar is about the same time. Solar is about 10 years. So with the micro jelly, we're going to target 10 years. And wind, it's a lot faster. If it's offshore wind, where you bring that all the way to shore, that goes to 15-20 years.
How do you avoid collisions with boats?
It's true, but if you look at the world is filled up with water. There are only certain places actually that has people. And if you go to Australia, there's a lot of wave activity there that doesn't have boats. So we can try it there. You can go to Africa, and there's a lot of wave activity there. So South America, we can also do that there.
And do you want to put them in areas that are owned, or do you want to put them in some sort of international space?
At first, with the micro jelly, we're targeting small communities. So the small communities, because one micro jelly can power about 10 or 20 houses, you can put an array. But the very first ones are the early adopters. And I think it's more with those big sounding names that they have a place on shore. So instead of having a solar panel on their roof, they're going to have a micro jelly in front of them.
So what other pieces of infrastructure would be necessary to make this work? Because you're going to get a tank of hydrogen coming off this thing.
Yes.
And you can't just take that tank of hydrogen and plug it into your house.
Right.
Right. So what are all the different steps that you feel like would have to happen so that the ecosystem works?
Okay. Right now, there's a lot of users of hydrogen. Hydrogen is an energy carrier. So it's being used for hydro cracking. That means if you need like jet fuel, you need to inject hydrogen into the process of oil refineries. So usually they're close by, and you can actually add hydrogen injected directly into natural gas pipelines. It increases the energy volume of that. So that exists. The users exist. So it just makes sense that to do it this way. So no other company is doing it this way. Those other companies that I showed, they're using it direct electricity, but we are going to do it the hydrogen way. So because that is what's going to happen in the future.
Thank you so
And
much.
it just makes sense. Thank you.
Thanks.